Alrighty, what is up, guys? I'm Aldo here. Welcome back to the latest analysis. Markets are still generally pretty strong. We're seeing some more altcoins kind of pump up, here and there. A lot of them are kind of going crazy in this rally a little bit. So the first thing I want to look at a little bit here is obviously the weekly. Could be a minute until this happens, but you could potentially be forming a bear div sometime at the end of the month. Around the Thanksgiving time too, which we did have a dump in Thanksgiving in 2020. I remember that one. That was pretty significant. So that could be potentially where we could come down. I believe 2021 as well. 2022, I think we already kind of bottomed out and we were kind of just stagnant. So Thanksgiving generally is not the most bullish time for crypto. Could be different this year though. We'll just keep that in mind. When you look at the 3 hour, looks pretty strong. Looks like you could see more continuation, potentially up to 39, 39K over here. I think is going to be really big. That 40K area I think could be really significant. Same thing in the 2 day. That kind of shows a big possibility of that. Daily may print a bull div on Heiken Ashi candles. Regular candles already printing that bull div, confirms in 5 hours. I don't think it's too much of a cause for concern just yet. I could see most likely you'll see probably maybe a jump up here, and then you finally see a bigger bull div in maybe a week or so, 5 days or so at the end of next week potentially. That could potentially bring us down. So as of right now, not seeing anything too alarming. We are kind of playing around with the spiral line right here, kind of almost rejecting from it a little bit. Your 5 hour though does have a continuation, a green dot here. Usually in an uptrend, these do work out pretty well. That one brought you up a little bit higher. This one could be pretty good. Some of these are pretty good when you're in an uptrend generally. I mean, you came down there, but then you had to jump up. So they generally kind of could give you what you need a little bit. Trigger waves to the downside. It is a Sunday though. Money flow coming out on some of these lower time frames. They do look kind of bearish. It is a Sunday, so I wouldn't consider that anything that's like scaring me too much right now. You also have a logarithmic spiral line right down here at about 37 almost, and we could also, because we've kind of been kind of trending a little bit, do a fixed range. Probably do a fixed range from there to there, something like that. Yeah, kind of rejecting from a point of control. If we come down to this pocket right here, good place to look along. Scalp shorts up there could be good. Now we're starting to be a little bit more of a range type thing. Potentially some more alts could ride up a good amount if Bitcoin does continue to stay range bound right here. Ultimately, that's what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, the main kind of trade too. We could also look at Market Cipher, SR. The main trade that I was looking at last night was kind of on this. Where was it? Yeah, kind of the hourly green dot. This kind of coming back into the green, potentially bringing us back up here or up to this area right here. So that could be the main long area, especially if you're trying to get that jump off of that VWAP right there, or it appears differently here, but we did have on some time frames the spiral line showing up right there. So that's what we got to watch right there. Now let's move on to Ethereum a little bit here. And, in the short term, we kind of have the same general type of thing here. And by the way, guys, if you want some exclusive trade setups and all of that in the Aldo Empire VIP Discord, a link down below. We got Atlanticor, KMAC, and CBZ in there. Always posting a lot of good stuff, and myself, obviously. So doing really well in there for the most part if you guys want to check it out. VWAP coming up on the 5 hour for ETH. Does look like you may see some more continuation. I mean, we don't have too much. There's other than this area, the high of the year, we don't have too much, after this. We got 20 until this area, this big fib level right there. 2200 is going to be a psychological area. Price did mess around with that a tiny bit way back when. Around 2200, the price does kind of stick to that point a tiny bit. I guess this wick here, 2160 could be somewhat significant, but really, 2400 could be in the cards here, especially with how I would say 3-day money flow coming up. Nothing's looking too bad just yet. Nothing is looking. These VWAPs are coming up here. 4 hour about to print that green dot. Seems likely at a correction downward, and then you may have maybe finding some support here and coming up. Now lower time frames like the hourly, excuse me, curvature downward, trigger wave to the downside. Definitely not the best thing, but it is the weekend. Sometimes those bearish things like on a weekend don't play out and you just generally keep the same trend. Maybe this, some of these bull divs potentially forming on like, where is it? Your 10 minute, really your 6 minute may kind of save the day a little bit here. And we could also kind of look at our SR points and market cipher. We are hitting the VWAP. Maybe you could get a jump off of here, head back up to this area. Now this would be somewhat of a risky, maybe trade setup. This would be a nice risk reward ratio around a 2-to-1 right there. Could be a trade, more risky. It is the weekend, but keep in mind you could lose over half of these and still be profitable with this type of risk reward ratio. So yeah. Now, if we want to move on to Bitcoin dominance, just wanted to show you Bitcoin dominance briefly. You may get a bear div on the 2-week, weekly. You're getting a red hike in ASHI. Looks like if this keeps coming down, we could continue our little altcoin rally upward, or altcoin season. This is the first altcoin season we've seen really since 2021. So that's an important thing to keep in mind here. That's pretty wild. Now, bull div here in the 16-hour. I would guess if this comes up, Bitcoin will, even if we keep rallying, Bitcoin will kind of lead the way, or we just drop down and Bitcoin outperforms some of the alts for a little bit. Ethereum versus Bitcoin absolutely could be bottoming out here. You may get a green dot on the 2-week pretty soon. Deep anchor wave on the weekly pretty soon as well. So that is a thing to kind of keep an eye on here. And yeah, a deep wave on the monthly. The thing here is, like, if you lose this important area where we're in, if you lose this, you're probably going to end up at 0.03, 0.04 at least, these areas. So if we do go into a recession, unemployment rises, that's a more bearish case. This would probably bleed more against Bitcoin. Now, what am I doing here? I started DCAing into ETH, here until pre-halvening, I think is a good place to DCA into ETH. I'm more in the ballpark that we could bottom out here, based on potentially this deeper anchor wave that we're seeing right there, similar to this area. And we also bottomed out in the 4-year cycle in, September of 2019. So second half of 2023 would make sense here. Definitely would make sense for ETH bottoming out against Bitcoin. So yeah, DOT is another one I've been keeping an eye on. So, really been coming up. I think you may be able to get to that golden pocket right there around 620. We've battled through the high of July 2023 high, so this absolutely could go up a little bit more. Did have a nice trade setup for this that is doing pretty well so far. Now, what we got to pay attention to though is you do have a bear div on the 4-hour while you're hitting this fib level, so I could see some consolidation here potentially. Lower time frames don't look too good, but weekend though, like that weekend type of thing, usually you kind of could stay, especially in an uptrend, stay that sideways bullish is what I'm kind of guessing here. AVAX had a nice kind of jump up as well. This trigger wave on the 30-minute potentially could give you a little more umph for AVAX here, potentially something of, oh man, that's a really, really good risk reward ratio. Really to be safe, yeah, 3-to-1 is not bad there. And then something like that could be possible in this trigger wave right here in the 30-minute. That might kind of give you what you need. Some of these lower time frames not looking too shabby, not looking too good there. Not looking too good. They are shabby, I should say, shabby time frames. But you could come up here, waiting for that 30-minute, wait for confirmation here, I would say. So yeah, that's that. Last thing I want to look at, Solana, which has gone crazy, approaching a pretty big fib level, $67. Nothing looking too bad except the RSI kind of coming down the weekly right there. And then money flow still looking good in the 3-day. Nothing too bad just yet. You did have a bear div right there that's kind of playing out. Nothing is looking awful just yet. A lot of money has come into this though. I could see, another jump up to potentially this area, maybe forming you absolutely may be forming a hidden bullish div in the 30-minute, which may bring you up to around the 67 area. So we got to keep in mind on what to look for. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that's all I got right now. If you guys want to make some of these trades, check out FAIRDESK down below. We give away $100 to one person that signs up every week with my link. If you want to make some of these trades, also check out the Discord for some of the trade subs, exclusive TA. We do exclusive live streams with you guys as well occasionally. And yeah, MEXC is great as well. 0 limit fees, especially if you're messing with some of the small market caps. And yeah, that's about it. So check that all out, guys. Have a good one. Goodbye.